How's it going, everybody? Chadley here, and in today's Cyberpunk video, I'm going to be telling you guys why you need to be going down the crafting tree, just all of the reasons that it's so helpful for your progression here in Cyberpunk. And this is also not really going to hurt your damage, maybe for certain builds where you really need to spread out your points. But for my build, I'm still dealing hundreds of thousands of damage consistently, and I'm still spec'd into really high technical ability here for the crafting tree. But otherwise, for this video, I'm going to give you guys a brief overview of how the crafting works and all the little reasons why you should be spec'd into this tree. I mentioned this briefly in the 10 things that I wish I knew before starting Cyberpunk, so if you guys missed that video, definitely go check that out. But this is definitely going to be way more in-depth than I did in that video, because I've been getting a lot of comments asking how I get certain mods and all these different things, and it all has to do with crafting. So this skill tree is seriously super important. If you guys do find this video helpful, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We're going to have a bunch of Cyberpunk content coming out very, very soon, so definitely stay tuned for that. But otherwise, let's jump right into this video. So starting off here, the crafting skill tree is in the technical ability attribute tree. So once we get this thing up to 18, you're going to be golden, and I highly recommend you prioritize this first. Maybe get a little bit of damage. So what I ended up doing is I got my reflexes to 12, and cool has been at 11. Before I really started technical ability, I basically did strictly technical ability after that. I got a little bit of damage that kind of carried me through basically everything I needed to do. And then this has only improved that because I've been able to get way better gear and way better mods. So if we take a look at the skills that I'm actually spec'd into here into the crafting tree, we get workshop, where we get a chance to get a free component of the same quality that we disassembled. So that's actually pretty nice. Definitely adds up, because you guys, if you don't know, crafting is going to take a lot of resources. It's also fairly hard to level. I'm level 18 in the attribute, but the crafting skill, I'm only at level 10. I will explain that a little bit later, why that's so difficult and the best way to go about it. But otherwise, some other skills is we get a 10% chance to upgrade an item for free. That's actually really, really nice. And then we can craft epic items and legendary items. This is huge. So if we go over to our crafting thing here, you can see all of my legendary blueprints and epic blueprints. I would not be able to craft a single one of these without that skill tree. Also, if you guys are getting iconic weapons, say you have a blue iconic weapon that you really like, you can actually turn it into a legendary. But the only way you can do that is with the crafting skill tree. And then on top of that, this is basically what I mentioned in the things that I wish I knew, is the weapons in this game have a lot of randomness to it. So they can get random stats and also random damage types. So being able to craft these is huge, because these are actually super expensive from the traders. You'll be looking at between about $100,000 to $200,000 for just one gun, depending on what gun that is. And this is going to save you a ton of money. And otherwise, some other skills that are really, really helpful is we reduce the cost of crafting and upgrading items. We get chances to craft things for free. That's actually a huge resource saver. We get, and this is, in my opinion, the most important skill in this entire skill tree, besides the crafting, actually the epic and legendary ones. And in some cases, I actually think it's even more important than that. But when disassembling an item, you get the attached mod back. This is why on my character, I have all of these crit damage and crit chances on all of my gear. It's absolutely insane. This hat has 3 crit related mods. The jacket has 4. This undershirt has 1. The glasses have 1. The pants have 1. And I could have put it on here, but I'm running some movement speed right now because I really don't need any more. But this is how I am able to do that. Because once I find a piece of like junk gear, say these boots, these actually do have crit chance on them, I could disassemble this and I would guarantee have that crit chance mod, and I could slot it into one of these. And then also I can slot these early on. So as I'm getting better gear, I can just disassemble my old gear and then put those mods on the new gear. And in my opinion, that skill is just an absolute must have. Now, if we take a look at some of our blueprints and things like that we can craft, it seems like we'll basically be able to craft every single item in the game. As long as you find its blueprints. I'm still missing a couple, but I do have a majority of the weapons in the game. Like I got Crusher, the sword, all these different weapons. I can craft all these armors. I'm still obviously collecting a bunch. I can craft legendary item components and mods as I find them. And it's just super helpful. You can, your max stocks, your healers, you can craft those. And then also you can craft components into higher rarity components. That is huge. The only issue with that is it takes a very long time because you have to craft it one at a time, and I have to hold and click just to make one of them. So I hope they add some bulk crafting, but it is definitely a little bit of a grind. And then for the mods, if you guys saw how to hit 400,000 damage, I had all like blue and purple rarity damage mods. So these are actually white rarity mods down here at the bottom. But when you craft these, they have chances of becoming higher rarities as long as you have the correct crafting skills. So if we go back to our character here, as we can see, I'm level 10 in crafting, and at level 9, we get the crafting specs for rare weapons, weapon mods, and clothing. So once you unlock that, you can go ahead and just start crafting up a bunch of these and try to get your hands on like blue and purple mods. So this is why my entire inventory is basically full of these, because I was trying to get some purple damage mods and so on. It's really easy to get your hands on, and they are incredibly cheap. If we go all the way back down to the bottom and we look at the crafting for one of these, it's 5 of the common materials and 1 of the uncommon materials. You can make thousands of these super easily. Then if we look at the crafting progression down here at 13, we get another super helpful skill. We can craft specs for epic weapons, combat gadgets, and cyberware. And later on, we can do iconic and legendaries. I forget where those are at. Here we go at level 18. After 18, it's not super worth it to go down this tree. Maybe if you have a couple extra points and you're really trying to get the most out of your items, you can do that because you can get this skill right here, Cutting Edge, and you increase the damage and damage-related stats of your crafted weapons by 5%. So that does actually add up for some of the crit damages and all that good stuff. So if you want to go that far, you can. I'm going to wait a little bit before I get to 20 in this crafting skill tree. Now, what I was talking about earlier with actually leveling up this crafting progression, it is very difficult because it's incredibly resource intensive and time consuming. So if you guys have not been picking up items, make sure you are doing that and disassembling them. You are going to need the components. So as we can see right here, I'm halfway through level 10. I have 5,000 XP out of the 9,300 that we need. And I'm going to show you exactly why it takes so long. So one of the more efficient ways I have noticed of actually leveling this up, it's definitely not super time efficient. Obviously, if I crafted higher rarities, it would go quicker, but it's much harder to get these components. As we can see, I only have like 122 of the epics. So I do like to craft either blues or greens. If you have a lot of the rare item components, you can do this and make it go a little bit quicker. But if you want to hold on to those, craft the D5 copperheads or basically any of these 19 and 16 components. You're going to get XP based off of the components that you use. And then otherwise, just craft up a bunch of these. Also, you're going to get a bunch of these components back. You basically get half of it back when you disassemble these items after you create them. So that is super helpful for making it last a little bit longer. But here is the really time-consuming part. If we craft this, we gain 102 XP. Even crafting legendaries, you only get like a couple hundred. And I need thousands per level. So and there's no bulk crafting. I have to click and hold this every single time. So this is where it really gets time consuming. You can see it just is slowly inching its way up, but it is definitely worth it if you just take some time once you have some components to just go ahead and go nuts with upgrading crafting. Now, before you do that, I would definitely try to get a lot of this tree, like say reduce the component cost of crafting items by 30%. I would max this out before you start leveling that up. It's going to help you a ton with saving resources. And then you can start getting this up and getting these extra like mod bonuses and things like that. But the amount of different stuff you can craft with these crafting actual skills is nuts. You can craft all your different weapons, clothing, consumables, all your max stocks, other related things like Ram Jolt. If you guys are into hacking, you can craft grenades if you have the specs. Obviously, all of our mods are really helpful. Even cyberware, you're going to unlock more of those as you go through the crafting skill tree. And just overall, you guys need to be doing this crafting. It is just overall super helpful. I come from Borderlands, which is definitely very grindy in terms of getting your perfect gear. And I know how much the RNG goes into it. And I definitely feel this is the best way of reducing this RNG. Obviously, you can go ahead and just refresh traders until they get to the exact one you want. But like I said, it gets very expensive. You guys know how hard it is to get like $100,000. definitely takes quite a bit of your time, and some of the items get close to $200,000. So I highly, highly recommend you guys go down this crafting skill tree. So finally, for the last aspect of the crafting is we get to the upgrade. So if we take a look at our sniper here, if we were just to upgrade this one time, we're gonna get basically 40 DPS out of it. And then obviously our base damage is gonna go up about 150 or so. And it's really not that expensive when you have the cost reductions. As we can see here, it cuts this from like 8 to 6. We're going to save one of our epic upgrade components, one of those here. And overall, it just really helps you out having these skills. But yeah, that's basically why you guys need to be going down this crafting skill tree. I know I threw a lot of information at you, so if you guys have any questions, please let me know, because I really do think this is the way everybody should be going, at least to some degree. Just get some of it. It's so helpful. I cannot stress that enough. But if you guys did find this crafting guide helpful, make sure you do leave the video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also consider subscribing for more Cyberpunk content. Also, feel free to join us over on Twitch. We stream basically every single night right around 8 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully I'll see you guys over there. But otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See ya.